Hello guys, today we're going to make raw vegan granola or cereal, however you prefer to call it. For that we will need soaked and rinsed green buckwheat. Rinsed and soaked, precisely in this sequence, flax seeds. We'll need slime from flax seeds, the glue. Then we'll need raw sesame seeds just as they are. Then we will need dates that are soaked and pitted. And cacao powder, to my taste. Maybe you will prefer berry palette. I don't like berry with buckwheat. Buckwheat has a little bit like burnt flavor, so cacao fits there perfectly. Here I also displayed carob powder. That is the biggest scam in terms of the flavor, because I heard online people were saying that carob is identical to cacao, but it just doesn't contain this neurotoxin caffeine. Dude, carob is literally the essence of dirty socks. I don't know. I mean, of course, we'll finish it. I won't throw it away. But, dude, it's just even now. It's like, it's so for real. So then, in terms of equipment, we will need this elephant in the room, which is a dehydrator. I have Excalibur. We will dehydrate this granola at 41 degrees, and blender. This is my blender. It looks old and worn down. Probably have to replace it soon. But yeah, we'll need a blender and a little bit of water. So let's start preparing it. First, we will need to transfer dates. The main thing actually about this recipe is to not add any date pits by accident into the blender, because it will wreck the whole thing, including potentially your blender. Then we will need to go grab a spoon. And we will need to transfer about a third of buckwheat there. So third of buckwheat will go to the batter, and 2/3 of the buckwheat will stay as is, making those crunchy inclusions in our granola. So we are transferring buckwheat. I eyeball everything, so just note that flax seeds there is of course for health, but also serves as a glue. Buckwheat, I just bought a small pack. You can use Bob's Red Mill or Eden brand. They have this buckwheat, or you can buy it online. So I'm transferring this buckwheat here, and then I'm transferring what? Now we need to add cacao. Cacao, I like my granola to be strong, so I'm adding quite a bit of cacao. Be generous. Always be generous, guys. So I'm adding cacao, probably quite a bit, but it's good. You see, it's so simple. You can make it while holding microphone. Then we're adding water for blending. Then closing our blender. By the way, don't soak flax seeds too much. Let them have some resource to absorb more water, because this is how it will stick together. So my blender is under the table, so I will go blend now. It seems like the texture is fine, so we can now make everything filthy and transfer this mixture here. You see, it's like thick, pretty thick. Put the blade here, of course, it had to make a mess. But what to do when you're... So my kitchen is very pretty, but my kitchen, first of all, doesn't have daylight in it, and it has huge distiller that obstructs the whole view of the countertop. So I cannot film there. I don't like absence of daylight. I feel like it's the perfection of lighting. So basically, this boring procedure of transferring chocolate paste into the whole buckwheat If it appears too thick for you, of course always have water on hand, but then also remember that, what do you need to remember? In terms of how long to soak buckwheat for, I soaked mine for 1 hour probably. You can soak it for longer if you have like some lectin, phytic acid scares, like fears. You can soak it for 20 minutes. I don't know if you're neutral to that. Then we're moving flax seeds here. You see, we need to give it some momentum using a spoon. We will be scraping it off in order to make it fall. So now I'm mixing this whole thing, keeping in mind sesame seeds. I guess this tablecloth doesn't have anything to lose at this point. So we will be adding now sesame seeds. I didn't do anything with them. You can soak them, of course. Sesame seeds, I love them. They're so flavorful. I even don't feel like talking about any like health aspects of this food. It's healthy. Like, just let's accept it. What's funny actually is that when I introduce my foods to like other people, what happens typically? They keep eating what they are usually eating, and on top of that, they eat my food. And one of my family members, after I lived with them for like a couple of weeks, goes, "I think I'm gaining weight on your diet." I responded that because you eat your food and my food. That's all. That's the secret. And I witness this all the time. People think that, of course, they will introduce something healthful and good to their diet, but they completely forget that you need to substitute conventional foods with raw foods in order to see any results. Because, of course, yes, they will have some nutrition, but your body needs to work differently for the raw foods to be absorbed properly, to give out everything they have to offer. So we're mixing. I feel like I need to add just a little bit of water. So yeah, a little bit of water. 1 second. Moisturizing splash. And let's keep stirring. So you can even let this mixture sit for some time to maybe plump up the sesame seeds, to let the flax seeds do their magic. Maybe that will be a good idea. Then another thing, if you are rich, you can buy vanilla things. Vanilla beans, and use vanilla paste as flavoring as well. I only have alcohol-based extract, but I don't like it. It gives off this bitterness. I don't know. I'm not a fan really. I kind of grew to not like it anymore. I used to, but I'm no longer into it. So I used to add vanilla flavor to this granola as well. And another thing that you can add here as a glue is chia. But be mindful that chia is much more greedy for water than flaxseed. And then another thing, you will need to make sure that chia drinks a lot before you add it, before dehydrate it, before eat it. It absorbs so much water and it turns into clumps, especially if you eat it alone. Of course, in recipes where it's mediated with other things, it's not a concern, but chia alone is not. Then, speaking of nuts, you can also add crushed nuts, whatever you want. But today, I want to show you just the base. And when you taste it, you will understand what you would want as a part of this granola. And then how to, other ways to flavor it. I feel like orange zest would be good, especially with chocolate. It's super cool. Then you can also, of course, add poppy seeds, speaking of zests, lemon zest, almonds, like almond flour. I wouldn't be adding blueberries to this because after you dehydrate this granola, blueberries can still carry some moisture and granola's durability will be much less. Stirring it and I think it's good to go. So now we'll pop a dehydrator sheet. So here we go. How thick are we going to spread them? Let's see. We'll put it here. this here, such that you can see the process. So this is Excalibur with those fantastic flexible plastic sheets that bend in all directions, especially under load. But we will not fixate on this for this video. And let's spread it. So if you love metric system, then you are in my team, and team of scientists and people from European continent. And we will be spreading this granola as thick as about 7 millimeters to 1 centimeter, allowing us some measurement error. In this way it will dry through. You see, I'm actually putting it straight on a mesh screen. So it will be dehydrated very efficiently from both sides without us needing to flip it, babysit this thing. So we will just pop it in and forget about it. Although, of course, we can flip it because the other side, the bottom, will be dehydrated somewhat. Not everywhere, but still. So we're spreading it. What can be more interesting and fascinating to watch? Pleasing some fetishists. I guess the rest is intuitively clear, right? So what I will do next is literally I will just stick it in the dehydrator, turn it on for 41 degrees, and leave it until it's dry, maybe till next morning. The only thing, of course, is that you shouldn't dehydrate this granola with a whole ton of super spiced up things, like that can transmit the flavor, something with ton of garlic, because if you have this beautiful chocolate granola and it has some subtaste of garlic, it probably would be gross. So maybe it would be a good idea to load your dehydrator with dessert items. I used to be buying raw granola, specifically some like this recipe from Wegmans back when I lived in Rochester. And at one point, they just decided that, okay, it will be raw, beautiful, natural, organic granola, but with a ton of sugar in it. So I was like, why would you do this, business people? You're did you do the analysis of your audience, of your customers? Like, if person buys raw organic granola, they're likely so deep in dietary perversions that you absolutely religiously need to avoid sugar in your food. So it was very bizarre to me. So I had to stop buying it, but good thing is that they're forced by law to list the recipe, so I just recreated it. And now you can as well. So that's it. Oh, you can also add something like raisins if you like. Actually, raisins will make it sweeter, of course. Not everybody likes raisins though in their food. And then what to eat it with? I would suggest that you eat it with, and myself, you can blend, let's say, hemp with water and banana. Something like this. To make kind of milk, but kind of without straining it, without all this hassle. So you make this kind of milk and eat it in the morning, so it will be like, you will shock your body with the amount of protein you're getting. So that will be cool. And what else? Sprinkle it in your ice cream. You can literally just eat it as cookies. Nobody forces you to break it in granola pieces, granola clumps. You can break it, you can literally make cookies out of it. So whatever aspect ratio you want, whatever shape, whatever characteristics you want, just do them, make them, produce them, easy. So yeah. So time to load our first sheet. And then, of course, what? Complete the task and go think what else to make. Another thing is that you can, of course, add pumpkin seeds to it. And sunflower seeds will be also very nice. And why I didn't do this here is because in summer, typically, in general, recently, maybe it's not a seasonal thing, maybe it's just my body evolution, I stopped craving heavy foods. So I like to snack on seeds but separately. So if I eat salad, I learn to appreciate a salad without the seeds. So just greens and fruits and vegetables. So with all those things, I kind of started separating heavy ingredients from light ingredients. So with this recipe, I'm also kind of compelled to just skip particularly fatty, heavy things and just keep it simple and light. In other applications, how you can use it, you can make sweet sandwiches with it as well. If you want to make, let's say, raw vegan Nutella, you can make Nutella sandwiches. Use these things as crisp breads, also be very good. Or you can put banana on top, just slices of banana. Remember to drink a lot because very dry food it will be. Turned out that we only needed 2 sheets, so whoop. And here we'll conclude this recipe. And I will probably see you in the next one, in which we will be making banana jerky. Sounds good? Bye. So granola is still soft on the inside, but it already holds its shape. Then I'll just break it apart like this in such crumbles, and we'll eat it. You can also probably cut it while it's soft, cut it in squares, and put some cashew cream, some chocolate cashew cream or cashew orange cream, something delectable like that. Also, will be super tasty.